First question is just what's the vibe around the program right now? Siena 3-4, UAlbany 2-6. These are two teams that are definitely better than their records indicate. How excited are the players in Siena's program right now?
Well, I think they're excited for the next game, and the next game is UAlbany. I think it's a great game for the Capital District. I know the players really enjoy playing it. I don't think it's as heated a rivalry between the players necessarily as it is with some of the fans. I think there's a mutual respect with both programs. UAlbany has had some success over the past 4 years, winning 3 out of 4 games. So, I just think Saturday's game is a great showcase of those two programs on a big stage.
The women's game will be first. That's at 5 p.m. The men's game will follow. Now, Tom, you played at Siena. Was this a rivalry back then, or has this really exploded with the birth of UAlbany entering Division I and kind of their rise to success lately?
Yeah, it was resurrected since they went back to Division I. It kind of ended in the late 70s, and unfortunately didn't start back up again for, I think, 14 years ago. So, unfortunately, I never played UAlbany. I had some friends that played there. I used to play against guys in the summer, and but unfortunately didn't get a chance to play in this type of game. It would have been great to be able to, though, because, again, it's the most well-attended Capital District sporting event other than a horse race. So it's a lot of fun to be a part of, and the players I know enjoy it.
Siena 3-4. They win the CBI last year. They come into this season with expectations and a lot of energy. Where are they at right now?
Well, they're a little bit reeling, to be honest with you. With the loss of junior Brett Bisping, that really hurts them. He's kind of an emotional leader. He's that guy that gets that tough rebound. He's the guy that takes the charge. He dives for loose balls. He's really a glue type of guy, and also, he can knock down three-point shots and score for you. So they're going to be missing that, and they were already missing Emo Silas. So their front line is depleted a little bit, and on the perimeter, they've got some guys who have had up and down games. They're looking to get some consistency from Rob Poole and in his senior season, and they've gotten consistent, very good play from Marquise Wright, their point guard. But I think because of Brett Bisping being out of the lineup, his first game out of the lineup was Siena's last game at Ryder, so they're just starting to adjust. At least they'll have 4 or 5 days of practice to prepare for UAlbany.
How big an impact is Bisping's injury going to make tomorrow? So we're talking about the immediate short run. UAlbany is a team that likes to grind out possessions. Sam Rowley is one of their best players, one of their biggest offensive forces. He's going to occupy the low block. So how much are they going to miss Bisping tomorrow specifically?
Well, I think it's going to be a big loss because Brett's the type of guy that, at least from a physical standpoint, can match up well with Rowley. Sam Rowley's the type of guy that's so crafty. I'm not sure you can stop him with one defender. So if the Saints, with their younger front court, now they're going to go to, Javion Oguniemi in the post and Willem Brandwick in the post. Willem's a freshman, Javion's a sophomore. Levon Long will move to the power forward position, most likely for good points of the game or long stints of the game. I think with those 3 guys, you've got a lot of inexperience against Sam Rowley, who's a very experienced post player and very crafty with the basketball. So losing Brett for Siena is a big loss, specifically against a team that has such a smart and talented player inside like Rowley.
These two teams are different when you look at the stat sheet. Siena likes to get up and down the floor. They average almost 80 points a game, allow 76 points a game. UAlbany, as I said, will grind out possessions. They'll really work the shot clock. They only score 63 points a game, only allow 67. Will this game come down to, Tom, which team can impose their style of play on the other?
I definitely think so, Brady. I think it's been that way since the series has resurrected. And I think to Will Brown's credit, he has been the one that has been able to dictate the tempo a little bit more than the Siena coaches have been. And, Will's been at UAlbany for a few years, and he's coached against multiple coaches. So Jimmy Passos is going to try to get his team up and down the floor, utilize the strengths. And right now, the strengths of the Siena team are Marquise Wright in the open floor. Marquise is scoring well, but he's also distributing well. So the Saints are going to try to, up the tempo of this game, and UAlbany will just go through their Australian duo. Peter Hooley is a very gifted scorer. He'll come off multiple screens, and he's more than capable of making the big shot. And I think in UAlbany's favor right now, they have a guy in Peter Hooley that embraces taking that big shot at the end of the game if it does come down to a close game. And this series, they've had 3 overtime games. So I expect a hard-fought close game tomorrow night. And to your point, I think UAlbany will try to dictate a slower tempo, and Siena will try to get out in the open floor and maybe press a little bit. They've had some success pressing teams as well.
Siena leading scorer Rob Poole, 14 a game. Marquise Wright, as you've spoken about, 13.5 a game. Levon Long, 11. Siena is a very balanced scoring team. UAlbany, they do rely a little bit on Rowley and Hooley and then Evan Singletary also, but their bench does not score like Siena's bench. How big a factor can that be?
Sometimes you don't need as much scoring from the bench if your bench doesn't play a lot. I think Will Brown is comfortable with his starters. He's definitely comfortable and wants Hooley and Rowley to play significant minutes. And Singletary, the newcomer, the junior college transfer, he's been a pleasant surprise. I mean, he had a huge game against Providence and a narrow loss for UAlbany. So, I just think, I go back to the Fran McCaffrey days when people used to knock Fran for not playing his bench more, and the guys winning 27 games. So coaches are going to play the best 5 that they feel they can win with. And sometimes that may be relying heavily on your starters. And you, at that point, as a coach, you want those guys to be in great shape, and you take your chances. So the bench scoring stat, although it's nice, I don't think Siena and UAlbany is Kentucky, but it's, I think it's with UAlbany's talent level right now and early in the season, I think they're relying heavily on their more experienced guys, and they're going to bring along some younger guys. They do have a lot of newcomers to their program.
Siena 3-4, UAlbany 2-6. UAlbany has played a tough non-conference schedule, as have both schools. UAlbany's played Providence, they've played UNLV, they've played Quinnipiac from the MAC out of conference. And Tom, I want to ask you this. I was at opening night for UAlbany. They beat New Jersey Institute of Technology by 17. They had the game in hand, could have won that game by 30. NJIT comes out and beats Michigan. Can we say definitively UAlbany is now better than Michigan?
That's a great stat. I remember years ago, Niagara beat St. John's. St. John's was number 1 in the country, and then Siena beat Niagara. So people would say that, make the same analogy. But that's just an impressive win. UAlbany, it shows what potentially they can do when they play well. And I think the same could be said for NJIT. I watched the second half of that game against Michigan. It was an exciting game. They just played flawlessly. And I think, Siena has that type of game when they played Quinnipiac. They played the way Jimmy Passos wants them to play. They played tough. They played with energy. They played fast. They attacked. They were on the aggressive side and not the passive side. So I think both teams, UAlbany and Siena, as you can look at their schedule, they've had up and down games. And I think when they play well, they're capable of beating each other by 20 points. But something tells me this is going to be a closer game than that.
Tom Huerter, Siena broadcaster, talking about UAlbany, Siena tomorrow night at the Times Union Center. Tom, I'm going to give you what I think my key to the game is. I want to hear your opinion. For me, I think it's going to come down to the foul situation. Siena, lacking depth in the front court, needs to stay out of foul trouble, because if the guys they do have down there get into it, there's really no one left to go to. And UAlbany, they don't run very deep on their bench, so Hooley and Rowley have to stay out of it as well. What do you think?
No, I agree with you, Brady. I think that's a huge key for both teams because of the depleted front court for Siena and the importance of Rowley and Hooley. And I think if you take those 2 players and limit their minutes to 25, then UAlbany becomes a much different team. Those 2 guys are just so talented. And Will Brown needs those guys to play well to beat good teams. I think Siena is a good team. And the same thing could be said for Siena. If they lose their front court and they don't have enough depth in the front court like they do in this game, then UAlbany is going to beat them on the glass. They're a tough team. A lot of times teams mirror their coach, and I think Will Brown is a tough, hard-nosed, well-prepared coach in that he gets his teams ready to play and compete. And I think this UAlbany team will be up for the Siena game. If Siena doesn't have rebounders inside, if they have those guys in foul trouble, then UAlbany could kill them on the glass, and Rowley could have a huge game. If foul trouble doesn't become an issue, now I think the focus becomes, okay, who on the perimeter can carry each team? Can Rob Poole have a big game? Can Ryan Oliver hit some threes like he's done all season long? Does Pat Cole have a good game? And for UAlbany, they've got some newer guys. Does Hooley carry them, or does Singletary have a big game like he did against Providence? Against Providence couldn't keep him in front of him. So he's a very talented scorer. So it should be a great matchup. But I agree. If I had to say one top key, it's going to be foul trouble for each team. And then after that, it's going to be a matter of, okay, who steps up and plays good basketball and offensively can put some points on the board, because this could be a grinded-out game.
Tom, I want to get you out of here on this. Switch gears for 1 second. Both these teams have a local presence. Siena has Javion Oguniemi from Troy. UAlbany has Greg Steyer from CBA. One of my favorite players to watch in Section 2 this year is Joe Cremo, who's a UAlbany commit. Obviously, both your sons, very promising players, very accomplished players already in Section 2. Aside from your own kids, who's your favorite? Who are your guys to watch in Section 2? Who are your favorite guys to watch play?
Ooh, that's a tough one, because my sons I've probably coached a bunch of them, and my sons are good friends with a lot of them. But I would agree. Joe Cremo, I love the way Joe plays. He's a gamer. He's a winner. He's tough. I think he's going to be a great addition to the UAlbany program. So Joe at Scotia is going to be very good. Then I have to go back to the guys that I've had the pleasure of coaching. John Sika at Bethlehem is a very good player. When he's not injured, he's definitely one of the top 5 players in this area. At Albany Academy, Rory Flaherty's a kid that's played a lot of basketball with my sons. He's a great shooter. Now he's a lone senior pretty much on that team. And if they're going to do well, Rory's going to have to play well. In the Suburban Council, Andrew Platek's a very gifted player. He can really shoot the basketball. He competes, plays the game the right way. So Andrew at Gilderland's going to have a great year. Jaleel Nails at Columbia is a very good player, very gifted scorer, probably one of the best scorers in the area because he can score inside and outside. So it's just there's a lot of very good players, exciting, and it's great for me because I've seen a lot of these come up from third grade throughout, and now they're seniors in high school. So time flies quickly.
Certainly a great brand of basketball being played in the Capital Region. Rory Flaherty of Albany Academy, our 104.5 The Team Athlete of the Week, coincidentally, for his performance last week against Catholic Central. You're going to see John Sika tonight. Shen takes on Bethlehem. Enjoy that game, and enjoy UAlbany Siena tomorrow, and thanks for being with us.
I will do. Thanks, Brady.